Thank you, Tyler. And soon we are expecting BlackBerry shares to resume trading here in just about 1 minute's time at $8.23. It was halted about an hour ago for news that fellow Canadian company and largest shareholder of BlackBerry, Fairfax Financial, has offered to buy the company for $9 a share in stock. This, of course, is subject to due diligence, looking at the books, everything that they have got to do. A deal could still be scuttled. However, Mandy, we do have an offer, $9 above where the stock was trading right now, which has raised some eyebrows.
Indeed, and I do believe also $9 is below where it was on Friday morning before, of course, the big news about the massive layoffs. 4,500 people came out. That came out at about 3 p.m. just as we were closing up street signs. So we're currently sitting at $8.23, waiting for those shares to resume trade.
Yep. And obviously, this is a story, folks, that is very fluid. It has sort of captivated not only Canada, where BlackBerry is based, but also America, because of the rapidity of the decline of BlackBerry's business, once seminal, accounting for more than half of all smartphone sales just about 6 years ago.
Okay, it's just trading right now. It's currently quite a lot of volatility. It's moving around, but we can clearly see it sitting at the $9 handle.
Yeah, I mean, listen, folks, here's the deal. If the stock trades markedly above $9 a share, you can assume that somebody believes that somebody else will come in and trump Fairfax Financial's $9 a share bid. Right now, it's at $9.08. So the market is saying, we don't think another bidder is going to come in here and buy BlackBerry. Jim Cramer's with us. Herb Greenberg's with us. We got Josh Lipton out west. We're going to be bringing people in. It's going to be a very fluid hour because you got Apple news. You got poor Microsoft, by the way. They're launching the new Surface today, and you got the Apple stuff. Now this. Jim, I want to hit something that's maybe a little bit sort of conspiracy theory first, okay? Fairfax Financial owns 10% of BlackBerry, fellow Canadian company.
Right.
Coming in a one working day after this massive, downgrade, job cuts, whatever. Does it smell funny?
Well, I think this is a financial bid. I think, by the way, my hat's off to the BlackBerry people. This is a good price for BlackBerry. I mean, I think if you look at the analyst coverage, people are thinking 5.7.
That's kind of my point. Is it too good of an offer?
Well, that's why I think it's not a bad idea to sell some here.
You'll be selling some here?
Yeah, I think so.
I think a lot of people are saying that this is just too much. I mean, the transaction is valued at $4.7 billion. Mind you, this was a stock that was $70 billion in market cap back in 2007 at its absolute peak.
And mind you, in a piece on TheStreet.com this morning, I wrote that this is a company that is in corporate hospice at this point. That's how I looked at it. And let me, don't just, and let me, yes, that's what I
thought that was a little extreme.
Let me explain something else here.
Not ICU? Not the ICU?
Remember, Prem Watsa originally bought much of his shares, or part of his shares, in 2010 at a price of $50 a share.
Please explain who Prem Watsa is for our listeners who don't know.
He is the CEO of Fairfax Financial.
There you go.
So
you've tangled with him, haven't you?
A lot of people have tangled with him because he's famous for suing short sellers. So he came in, started buying the stocks. We bought some at 50, some at 7 and 8. So you have a situation where he's coming in with this $9 price, saves himself a little, and he says he can do it in the private eye. He has a comment here where he says this can be an exciting new private chapter for BlackBerry. Well, this is not Dell.
Exciting chapter?
This is not, because he can do it without the public seeing what's really going on, and obviously he thinks there's
But maybe it's easier to fire people when I mean, this is a jewel of Canada. I mean, we may think of it as a declining operation. But, I mean, maybe he can do things privately that we wouldn't see otherwise that can bring out some worth here.
In 2007, I went to Waterloo, Canada. I sat down with then CEO Jim Balsillie on the campus. It was vibrant. It was exciting. It's much like you picture maybe Apple or Google is today. People were proud to work there. It was an exciting place, right? This is a company that went from $5 billion in quarterly sales, guys, 7 quarters ago, to $1.6 billion. And yet now you've got a bid that comes in. Everybody agrees, to Mandy's point. I mean, the average price target on this stock, I'm going to look it up as soon as I get my fact set working here, it's probably around $5 or $6.
Right, that's why I thought it was a good deal.
Good deal to sell.
Yeah, to take advantage of and sell some.
Because the stock is at $9.
Right, because look, he's a financial buyer. I mean, hasn't this company been shopped for ages now? I'm just listening to our coverage. It's been shopped for ages.
It's been shopped, and I think if you kind of come out there and say we're looking at all kinds of strategic options, one of them being, of course, that we could be bought, you're basically saying to a lot of enterprises out there who might be deciding, well, am I going to continue to go with BlackBerry as our platform for all of our employees or another company like Apple? Why would you go with BlackBerry? It was almost like the writing was on the wall the minute they said, we are up for sale.
And he says our focus is, again, as a private company of delivering superior and secure enterprise solutions to customers around the world. It isn't going to happen
No,
that
they don't
way
have
the same
that.
way.
They can't do that. That's why, again, I mean, people at home, they think, well, 9, maybe there's someone behind it, and that could be great.
Yeah.
Look at what happened with Dell, the tortured notion of Dell. What was really behind it in the end? How much more did you get hanging on to that versus owning the S&P 500?
It's a good point, and we should remind our viewers and listeners, the stock is at $8.97. So the market right now is saying no bidder will come in above Fairfax Financial. We got Roger Cave, Endpoint Technology. We've got our own Josh Lifton out west. Roger, what do you make of this offer? I don't want to call it a deal yet. What do you make of this offer for BlackBerry from Fairfax Financial?
Yeah, well, I mean, I see this as a kind of a temporary transfusion. This is a financial company giving them a lifeline so they can last till the next moment. I don't think this changes the story on the ground at all. You know, BlackBerry is a deflating balloon. It's this thing that's been just running out of air as fast as it possibly can. And on the operating side, I don't see them recovering. They've got this nugget of business, which is sort of secure and federal and so on, and that they might be able to regroup around, but it's a much diminished company even in that respect. And I think this is just an infusion of capital to keep them until the next moment when they can try to figure out the next thing.
So you think it's a losing bet on Fairfax's part? I mean, clearly the market doesn't believe that somebody else is going to come in here.
Yeah.
They've got 6 weeks of due diligence. Is there literally no one else out there, Roger, that you can potentially see that might want to come in?
Well, okay, so if you look at what's going on right now, Apple and Google own the high mobility market between them pretty much. And Microsoft is making a strong bid to be the third player, which is what BlackBerry was up until just recently. As BlackBerry goes down, Microsoft is stepping on the gas, and I would say that they have at least an even shot at hitting that third player. Being even in single-digit market share, they would still be credible in some geographies around the world. That's the place that BlackBerry had. I don't see them getting it back, given what they have in their hand.
I guess what I'm having trouble understanding, the stock's at $9, okay? They went from $5 billion in sales 2 years ago to $1.5 billion. Everybody understands the deterioration of this company, and yet you have a financial offer that comes in one working day after this haircut on BlackBerry and offers more than the stock is trading at. If I was Fairfax Financial, why not wait till it's at $3, $2? Because it's pretty doggone clear where this company is going.
I think it's a great point. I think Brian raises a great point. This is maybe they just feel like if they put this offer out there,
Stalking horse, perhaps.
Yes,
But it's already been out there.
Well,
Josh,
you have to be really careful. If they start losing the talent, the remaining talent that they have, the cohesion of the company, the operating, in this business, high mobility, if you miss a couple of product cycles, you're pretty much out of it. Everybody's going to be looking for new work, and that company disintegrates. If they wait a lot longer, they don't get anything.
Just very quickly, I'm going to get to Josh Lifton in a moment because I know you want to jump into the conversation. But, talking of the personnel at BlackBerry, Roger, I understand that going into this announcement, before this came out, you were reckoning that the CEO, Torsten Heinz, was going to step down pretty soon. What happens to him now?
Yeah, well, it'd be interesting to see what kind of deal he gets, but I get a feeling that he is a short-timer given what he just produced.
Okay, wow. Josh Lifton.
Isn't that amazing when he came here? I had such high hopes for the guy. I mean, he was such a breath of fresh air.
He was so optimistic, but was he unrealistically optimistic?
I guess so. In retrospect, it's a closed system, and
well, that inventory is the indicator of how optimistic he was.
Josh, come into the conversation.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think what you'll hear analysts talk about, and it echoes some of what you guys have been talking about, it's in reports, they'll say, listen, after what you saw on Friday with that earnings, I mean, they post almost $1 billion loss, $1.6 billion on the top line. That was way worse than what the street was looking for. Thousands more BlackBerry employees lose their jobs. So the idea would be someone has to come in sooner rather than later, analysts are saying. They step in, they take this company private, away from the spotlight of the markets and the public, try to remake it into something, a more viable, stable business.
Yeah, but away from the market spotlight. Okay, I get that, Josh, but here's the thing, guys. To Mandy's point, right, we talked about will companies use BlackBerries? At least now we know what the company is doing, how it's doing. Would you be, if you're a corporate, if you're an enterprise IT guy and you've got to make a decision to upgrade your 5,000 employees on a smartphone platform, if you don't have visibility into the company you're dealing with, like they won't now with BlackBerry if the deal goes through, do you do the upgrade? Because if you're not, Jim, that's the spiral.
And I think that's when you're on the hook. I thought it was interesting that when Dell was going private, Hewlett-Packard really took a lot of shots at them. But the fact is Dell hasn't lost a lot of business, we can tell, other than the secular decline for PCs. But this is one of those where the IT guys are basically being told by their troops and by their bosses, hey, I read in the paper, there's that thing, they're laying people off. That doesn't sound good.
This is so not Dell, because this has to deal with a situation where you're really talking about a major change in how you're operating in terms of using telephone phones
Well,
and communications.
I brought my BlackBerry in just for
You still use one?
a little last hurrah. I'm actually one of the very loyal BlackBerry users because I really like the user interface, but that's a whole other issue.